They tell you to eat clean, to choose whole grains, low-fat yogurts, and energy bars packed with fiber and vitamins. They label it all with smiling farmers, green leaves, and heart-shaped seals. But if you peel back just one layer of the illusion, the reality is grotesque. What you put into your mouth every day, what you feed your children, is not food in any traditional sense. It's a highly engineered product, optimized not for your health, but for profit, shelf life, and psychological addiction. And they know it. Start with the so-called healthy snacks. Granola bars, protein balls, fruit-flavored breakfast bars, marketed as convenient nutrition. They are, in truth, vehicles for multiple types of sugar, hydrogenated oils, synthetic vitamins, and stabilizers. Some contain over 5 distinct forms of sugar, cleverly renamed to keep the word sugar off the first few ingredients. You're told you're eating something natural, but nothing about it is. Even the meats labeled lean or natural are carefully doctored. Take turkey breast. It sounds clean, almost medicinal in its purity, but in processed form it comes loaded with sodium nitrate, phosphates, smoke flavor, and carrageenan. The pink color isn't from the meat, it's from additives designed to keep it looking fresh, far beyond its natural expiration. The result is a product that mimics the appearance of health while quietly contributing to hypertension, inflammation, and worse. The manipulation extends to your fridge's most trusted companions: yogurt, juice, cereals. Industrial yogurt contains not only added sugar, but also modified starches, gums, and artificial flavors. It's thickened, sweetened, perfumed into a semblance of something nourishing. Children's yogurts especially are a battleground of deception, targeting a younger generation with cartoon packaging while dosing them with corn syrup and coloring agents not permitted in other countries. As for natural juice boxes, many contain less than 30% actual juice, padded with chemical preservatives and natural flavors that are anything but. This isn't carelessness, it's a method. There are entire departments, entire careers devoted to the art of making fake food look real, making it feel good in your mouth, sound healthy in your mind, and keep you coming back in your behavior. The texture of your snack, the crunch of your chip, the creaminess of your low-fat dairy. It's not a coincidence, it's food science, weaponized. And that's just what they let you see on the surface. You have to understand, this isn't about feeding the public, it's about controlling them. The global food industry is not designed to nourish, but to manage appetite, mood, energy levels, and dependence. Ultra-processed foods were never meant to be substitutes. They were created to displace real food entirely. Because real food expires. Real food spoils. Real food cannot be copyrighted, patented, or standardized for global distribution. But synthetic food can. It's a data-driven, cost-optimized supply chain miracle and a public health catastrophe. Every bite you take from a processed product is the result of years of lab testing, chemical tweaking, behavioral psychology. They test which blend of salt, fat, and sugar lights up your brain like a slot machine. They measure your mouth's reaction to textures, how quickly a chip should dissolve, how loudly a snack should crunch to signal satisfaction. These aren't nutritional decisions, they're neurological traps, and they are working. Meanwhile, they drown out real food with noise. Watch the advertising budgets, the flashy labels, the pseudo-health claims. Low-fat, heart-healthy, whole grain, gluten-free. These words mean nothing in the context of synthetic design. A cereal that boasts fortified with 10 vitamins and minerals is often less nourishing than a bowl of plain oats and fruit. But the latter doesn't make anyone rich. There's another layer, one you were never meant to notice, because once the deception became obvious, they evolved. They adapted. Clean labeling, organic-sounding names, faux artisanal packaging. They removed the synthetic-sounding ingredients and replaced them with analogs. Ingredients technically derived from natural sources, but chemically identical to their lab-born predecessors. It's the same trick with new language. This time, it's harder to trace. The regulatory systems in place are not designed to protect you. They are calibrated to protect the illusion. Food labeling laws allow for manipulation, omission, and strategic naming. Ingredients like natural flavors can include hundreds of chemical compounds. Caramel color might contain ammonia. Citric acid is usually manufactured from mold, not citrus. But these facts are hidden in plain sight, buried under euphemisms and loopholes. And if anyone dares to speak up, they are discredited, ridiculed, or simply erased. There is a reason so few whistleblowers come from inside the food industry. The silence is not accidental. The threat is not just to careers, it is to lives. In rare moments, internal documents surface, emails between food scientists and executives, testing data, shelf life algorithms, quiet acknowledgments that these substances cause inflammation, metabolic disruption, even behavioral shifts. But these findings are buried, quietly settled, or spun into PR talking points. Save this while you still can. If you want to break out of the food, tech, and mental matrix, I invite you to the Banned Protocol book. You'll learn 50 hidden truths to break free from the cycle of obedience. In just a few days, you'll start spotting the system's traps. The first people who read the book said they felt like they were waking up all over again. Check the pinned comment below. The collusion between the food conglomerates and regulatory agencies is not hypothetical. It is documented. Former executives from major food manufacturers routinely move into positions of influence within the very institutions meant to regulate them. They help write the rules. They shape the definitions. They decide what qualifies as natural, what counts as a serving, what does or does not require disclosure. In this revolving door of interests, public health is not just neglected, it is actively undermined. The science, when inconvenient, is delayed, obscured, neutralized. Peer-reviewed studies linking ultra-processed foods to obesity, diabetes, and cognitive decline are routinely contested by expert panels funded by the very corporations under scrutiny. Conflict of interest disclosures are buried in footnotes. Journals receive advertising revenue. Universities receive research grants. Entire departments are kept afloat by food money. It's not that the science doesn't exist, it's that it is quietly suffocated before it can breathe. In schools, the damage begins early. Cafeteria menus packed with industrial food, branded contracts with soda companies, nutrition curriculum shaped by industry-funded educational materials. The same companies that make sugary cereals are designing what your child learns about health. The language of choice and freedom is used as a cover for systemic entrapment. Children grow up not just addicted to these products, but believing that they are normal, that they are food. The implications are not just physical. This food affects how we think, how we sleep, how we feel. Chemical emulsifiers used in processed foods have been linked to changes in gut microbiota, which in turn affect mood regulation and cognitive clarity. Artificial sweeteners alter insulin response and hunger signals. Preservatives and colorants cross the blood-brain barrier. What masquerades as convenience may in fact be rewiring your brain, slowly, subtly, day by day. And while this happens, the solution is always framed as individual failure. Eat better, move more, count calories. The burden of health is placed squarely on the shoulders of the consumer. Even as the choices are rigged from the start, healthy food is priced higher. Processed food is subsidized. Neighborhoods without access to fresh produce are flooded with convenience stores and fast food chains. The system creates the illness, then blames the victim. And through all of it, they keep smiling because the sickness is profitable. The same companies selling you the poison are invested in the pharmaceutical companies selling you the cure. Diabetes drugs, blood pressure medications, antidepressants. It is a closed loop, engineered dependency on every level. You are fed, you are sick, you are treated. Then you return to the beginning. This wasn't supposed to be heard. In quieter circles, they call it the perfect loop. A system where food is engineered to induce dysfunction. Dysfunction leads to medical intervention, and the cost of that intervention feeds back into the very corporations that engineered the food. Agriculture, pharmaceuticals, insurance, logistics, all interconnected, all sustained by the silent suffering of a population that believes it is simply making bad choices. But some did notice, in fragments, in symptoms, an unexpected rash after a healthy meal, fatigue that no blood test explains, children with behavioral disorders triggered not by upbringing, but by diet. The signs are everywhere, but they are isolated, dismissed, pathologized. The connection is never made public because the full picture would be unbearable. It would require us to confront the possibility that our food supply has been compromised not by accident, but by design. And so the system protects itself with distraction, wellness trends, detox kits, influencers peddling powdered greens, and collagen supplements, but all within the same framework, all still dependent on the very supply chains that created the damage. You can escape the symptoms briefly, but never the system, because even the so-called alternatives are often manufactured by the same parent companies. The illusion of choice, again. Occasionally, the mask slips, a leaked document, a whistleblower in a white coat, a batch recall too large to contain. In those moments, for just a second, the machine stutters, a glimpse behind the curtain. But the narrative is quickly reestablished. The media, funded by the same ad dollars, calls it a fluke, a one-time error, an isolated issue, and the public, exhausted, returns to the routine. Ask yourself why so many nations ban ingredients that remain standard in the United States, why certain dyes, emulsifiers, and preservatives are considered too risky elsewhere but are freely used here. The answer lies not in science, but in influence, in policies shaped by lobbying, not by data, in agencies compromised by the very industries they are meant to oversee. Not everything was meant to be seen, but here it is,